Okay, babes, so I got your email, as you can see right here in the frame. I'm using Screencast-O-Matic to record, and this is a free utility. If you ever think it could be handy, I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Pretty straightforward, but it's very easy. You just have to have Screencast-O-Matic and set up a YouTube account to which you'll upload the videos. That's a little sidebar promotional. You should see if that passes the ethics committee as I do a promo in a training. Okay, anyway, oh, and it's free. Okay, so here's the graphic. I opened it up and I was able to open up directly from the PDF. Illustrator allows you to create PDFs and then go back in and edit those PDFs. And you can see up here, oh shoot, you can't see some of the menus, but it's File, Edit, Object, Type, Select, Effect, View, Window, and Help up above, as you are probably seeing in your CS6. Oh dear. So back to Illustrator land. What I saw is that you needed to take these things down a smudge and edit some other elements. So this is pretty straightforward. When you're dealing with Illustrator, you've got lots of objects that are stacked on top of each other. The most logical way for all of these elements to exist is that something that's in the background or something that is not, you don't want to interrupt another image, is going to be at the bottom of the stack. You would see that in your layers. Let me see if I can pull this in the frame. Oh, over here, sorry. You can see that this is your layers icon. I don't even know that I used it for this. It looks like I have layer 2 in use. You can turn your layers on and off to show what's actually on that layer. So that's kind of handy because I wanted that shape to stay consistent. The nice thing about layers is that they allow you to lock things that you don't want to bump. So imagine that you've got your graphics all perfectly placed and you don't want to errantly like nudge something out of alignment. So something like this math course sequence and frame is something that I don't want to touch, and maybe in some instances I don't want to see. But if I don't want to touch it, I just go right here and I click on this column right here. It means that I lock that layer. So if I go and try to touch this right now, you can see that it's not letting me do anything. It's basically stuck. Now when I unlock it and I click this box, look what happens. You start to see how I sort of built, this is what I would call a compound shape. And there are many ways to do this in Illustrator, but essentially to do this, I overlaid a rectangle shape on top of that block. So right there. Okay, sidebar. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock this layer again, and then I'm going to turn it off so we just don't get distracted by it. I'm going to snap this panel back in, and at any time I can go back and re-engage it. The first thing that I saw is that you wanted me to move this down a smidge. This object right here, this little Math 26 box, is created from, it looks like 3 different objects. You've got a text frame, and I'm going to put down my Shift key and nudge it up. And then I've got this gray box. You can see I can nudge that up using my up arrow, and I'm nudging it down holding the Shift key. By holding down the Shift key and nudging the arrow, I move in larger increments than I would if I just took my finger off the Shift key and nudged down the down arrow. But I'm going to take that back up, and I'm going to take that, get it back into what looks to be the same position. That might be a little high. Probably not perfect, but I don't really care. So then I'm going to take this and nudge it back down. Well, this, in InDesign, the arrow, to smidgen this down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag over and select all of them at the same time. And it looks like there's some other crud up there. Oh, this is an empty text box. I'm going to go ahead and click the delete key to get rid of that. That's just invisible junk, sort of like space garbage. Sorry, it's the end of the day. Okay, first of all, this little arrow here, multiple ways to create an arrow, but it looks like in haste I cheated. I'm going to change the shape of this arrow. Let me pull this up so you can see what I'm doing. There's a triangle shape here, and there's this other bar. Nudging it down so you can see, I created the illusion of an arrow by having a triangle shape on top of this little guy right here. So what we want to do first of all, just like you've probably learned with text boxes, is shrink this arrow down, because the goal, of course, is to get this line coming out of Math 18A. And I'm going to nudge it down. So I shrunk the height of the curved arrow, and I'm going to shrink it a little bit more. And then I just click away. And now I'm going to click directly on the little triangle, and I'm going to use my little nudger to nudge it down per your request, just a smidgen, as you said. And then I'm going to grab this group right here, boom, 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 boom. And look at this little white box and the tip of the arrow here. See how they're not perfectly aligned? We're going to do that, nudge it over with, I'm just using my arrows. Arrows are so precise. And the nice thing about, nudge my key, my up and down arrows on my keyboard. The nice thing about moving things that way is if you're counting as you nudge, if you don't like it, you can count backwards. So say, for example, I'm like, let's nudge it, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that looks like crap. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, back to where it was. In any case, the goal is to get them as aligned as possible. Now I'm going to do a little cheat right here, and I'm going to grab triangle, and then I'm going to hold down the shift key and select the cluster of objects that are there together. And I'm going to go up to this bar. See these little icons up here? They're showing you alignment. Do you want to align them all to the left edge, to the center, or to the right edge, horizontally? Or do you want to do the vertical align top, vertical align center, vertical align bottom? What we need is horizontal align center. I'm going to deal with the fact that that little triangle is not perfectly lined up with that box. Wait, I'm going to undo because I just messed up. It's fine. The problem is that they're not, let me do this. Sorry. See that box right there? All of those are individual objects that I am manually grouping together every time I use them. But I'm going to make it one single object, and I'm going to go up to the object menu, which you can't see, and I'm going to say group. So now Illustrator sees it as a single object. See how it's moving all together? So I want to go over here, and I'm going to say align center. Oops. And that's fine. And then I'm going to nudge back over so that little triangle lands right on the tip of that. And then click it again. It's all one group thing. I just had to click on it and boom, 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 boom. This is probably the worst training video I've ever done. But hopefully that's down just a smidgen compared to what you sent me. It looks like it is. Okay. Now, the next thing that you asked me to do was to add another box. So the easiest way to do that, my friend, especially in situations like this, is to basically copy what you have. So this is easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this whole cluster right here. And then I'm going to push down the, I think what for you might be the Control and the Alt key. On my keyboard, it's a little different. But what it does is what you want to see is this little white arrow over the black arrow. And we're going to grab and wait, excuse me, the Alt and the Shift key. Hold on. The beauty about videos, you can stop and start over. Okay, so what I was not doing is you want to hold down your Control and I believe your Alt key at the same time. And oh my God, oh, sorry, I gotta get back in the application. And now, and notice how I get the arrow with the plus symbol. That's what you're going for. So it's a compound where you're holding down two keys at the same time. And I've selected all of these objects at the same time, and I'm just gonna drag and then hold the Shift key and drag it up. So by pushing these the first two keys, the Control and the Alt key, I'm telling it to copy. When I add the Shift key, I'm saying that if I'm going to drag this new object in any direction, I want it to be exactly aligned with the other option. So I was on the Mac side, I was holding down 3 keys. The first 2 were to tell Illustrator to copy, and the last one was saying that once it's copied, drag it exactly in a straight line up above where it is with the Shift key. I think it's called constrain.